you're meant to burn as bright as a star among the midnight sky. All the pressure blinded me, but now I see I'm no different from the rest. You said I'd fly away, but my walls have kept me down. Now I'm lost and I'm afraid, and I'm close to hit the ground. You said I'd fly
Hey guys, welcome to another video. So today is going to be a live stream. Today is going to be a very different video in general. I built this video in a different way. So essentially, the Prince synergy is the meta right now. You have everybody trying to build with the Prince synergy. You have the Prince synergy everywhere. And so my old Prince tutorial has actually, I won't say it's like, but it needs an update. I need to update the tutorial. Okay, so I thought I would just make a video about the Prince synergy again, but then I was like, it would be kind of, I would want to get feedback from you guys directly as I make the video. So that was now when I came up with the idea of, I'll just do the tutorial on the live stream. I'll do the tutorial on the live stream so that I can, if there's anybody who has a question at any point, I would be able to answer the question. There's going to be dedicated parts for reading comments and answering questions as I go. So I've already made the whole video. I'm just going to be just playing it here essentially and explaining what's happening. So it's a very interesting video because the Prince lineup right now is very, there's so many things about the Prince lineup, the Prince synergy right now. There's many different ways to build it. There's many different strategies that people have come up with. So I'm in this video, I'm just trying to piece all of this together, see how this works, see what makes this works. And essentially I'm just going to be exploring so many things about the lineup. So I hope you guys enjoy this experimental type of content. For the people who are going to join the stream, who will stay in the stream, thank you very much in advance. I would love to hear your feedback about the way the stream is going and how you like this, because personally I really like this type of tutorials, whereas the tutorial is more like a live stream where I explain how the tutorial works. I really love that. Although I would say it feels more like a lecture than a YouTube video, which is fine by me actually. But enough of the introduction. Let's get started with the video. So in this video, we're going to be discussing the Prince synergy and how it works, the recommended lineups and their comparisons, and then I will be making step-by-step tutorials on how to build each lineup. So like I said, there are many different approaches to building the Prince synergy right now. All approaches, there is no wrong one, there is no right one. What matters is being able to use what you want. There's different pros and cons of every different lineup. So as long as you know how to use the one you use, you'll be fine. Then I will now be answering some frequently asked questions or the questions that come during the course of the stream. And I'll also be narrating my personal experiences. So that is just what this video is going to be about. I don't know how long the stream is going to be, but I hope you guys enjoy it. Yeah, let's get started. So we now start with the Prince synergy and how it works. Now you have the Prince synergy is a new synergy. Like I said, it's a synergy in Magic Chess, and whenever you activate a synergy, the Prince synergy gives the Prince heroes 65 physical attack. Then when you have 5 synergies, the Prince Heroes get 40% lifesteal. Then when you get 7 synergies, the Prince Heroes get 175% attack speed. So if, for example, you have 10 synergies, that is, you're going to get 650 physical attack, 40% lifesteal, and 175 attack speed. The Prince Heroes are Dairot and Moskov. As you can see, the synergy is a whole strategy in itself. The stats you get, the bonus stats you get, 40% lifesteal, 175% attack speed, they are almost as strong as many star cores in the game. So trying to activate 7 synergies or just trying to make sure the Prince synergy works out is a whole strategy on its own. And rightly so, because of this, many people have come up with many different ways to do it. And there is, like I said again, there is no right one, there is no wrong one. But yeah, now it's time to see what these lineups actually are. Broadly speaking, every lineup in Magic Chess that plays with the Prince synergy is divided into two. I know that there's many different approaches people have used, but for the most part, they're all divided into two. The first one is what I like to call the Franco-Freya-Julian lineup, and you will see why I call it that in a few minutes. The Franco-Freya-Julian lineup. Essentially, well, I will explain it. And then the second one is the Archer Wrestler. I think we are all kind of used to the Archer Wrestler. If you have watched the first part of my Prince tutorial, you would understand what the Archer Wrestler is. This is an example of what a Prince Synergy lineup looks like. Now, the first lineup is the Franco-Freya-Julian lineup. Now, this what makes this lineup so special, I would say, is number one, all of them have 3 synergies each. You would see that Franco has 3 synergies. He has Ablaze Bounties, Northern Veil, and Weapon Master. Freya has Ablaze Bounties, Saber, and Weapon Master. Then Julian has Forsaken Lights, Weapon Master, and Mage. All of them have 3 synergies each. What this means is that if you can activate all these synergies, you will very, very easily be able to get to 7. You'll very easily be able to activate 7 synergies without using too many heroes. And because they're all Weapon Masters, just having 3 of them already gives you the Weapon Master synergy. Then the rest of their synergies now have some links. You have Franco and Freya are both Northern Veils. You have Esmeralda is an Ablaze Bounties mage. Cyclops is a Saber mage. So you have many heroes that if you put this hero, you are going to trigger more than one synergy. And you have so many heroes like that. And you will see that now when we go into the lineup. So here we have a base lineup. You have Franco, Freya, and Julian, and then you have the Prince heroes. So from these 5 heroes now, we want to try to get 7 synergies. And the first thing we'll do, of course, is to add Bane. When we add Bane, that will, of course, trigger the Northern Veil with Franco and Freya. We have 2 Northern Veils already. So that will trigger the Northern Veil with Franco and Freya. You have these 6 heroes. 6 heroes right now, 3 synergies. Nothing too spectacular. But the next 2 heroes, when you add Claude, just by adding Claude, you already have Gunner, Ablaze Bounties. It's already catching up. You already have, with 7 heroes, you already have 5 synergies. Because Claude activated 2. Then when you add Yin, you get Wrestler and you get Forsaken Light. Just like that, you have 7 synergies. And it's all advantages of using the Franco and Freya because you have all these heroes that are just interconnected. Very, very easily now we have 7 synergies, but that gives us a lot of space to do whatever we want. And there are 2 ways to actually go from here. There's 2 ways to actually go from here. The first one is using Esmeralda and Layla. When you use Esmeralda and Layla, you will get a Gunner, you will get a Mage, and you will get an Ablaze Bounty. So, and you also get a Saber. What this means now is that if you pick Saber Star Core, this Saber will be complete. And then if you pick Ablaze Bounty Star Core, Ablaze Bounties will also be complete. So, at the end of the day, you will have 9 synergies here. If you come down this path, you use Aldous and Cyclops instead of Esmeralda and Layla, you will get 1 more Wrestler, you will still get your Mage, you still get your 1 Ablaze Bounties, and you will get Saber. So once again, if you pick Saber Star Core and you pick Ablaze Bounty Star Core, you will have your 10 synergy, you have your 9 synergies complete. Now, already you can see that we don't need those heroes actually. We just need these 8. We already have our 7 synergies. The other ones are just extra. You can put just Esmeralda, you can put just Esmeralda. Esmeralda will give you one more Blaze Bounty and one more Mage. But if you want 9 synergies, then you can add an extra hero. And if you get if you get 2 Archer crystals, then you can just add Moskov, and you can just add the 2 Archer crystals, and you can get 3 Archer, and then you have 10 synergies. That is entirely possible. Now, so far that is all about the Franco-Freya-Julian lineup. What do you guys think of the lineup so far? I want to hear you guys' opinions about the Franco-Freya-Julian lineup. Do you think it's worth it? Do you think it will be easy to build? Do you think it's good? It's just good in general. What do you guys think of the lineup? Hello. Thank you guys so much for joining the stream. Okay, so that okay, so the comments so far. Thank you guys so much for joining. I see greetings here. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining. Yeah, I hope you're enjoying the stream so far and the video. So now let's go to the next part. Well, yeah, it's also sad for me because I want to like meet other Magic Chess YouTubers. I'd potentially learn a few things from them, but well, it is what it is. So moving on, Archer Wrestler, the Archer Wrestler lineup. We already know how this one is. If you've seen the previous video, you already know what this one is going to be, but we're still going to explain it again. The Archer Wrestler lineup is built around the fact that you have some factions that have both wrestlers and archers. Prince in itself has Daroth a wrestler, Moskov an archer. And so when you have all these heroes, the wrestlers and the archers, you have Prince here, that's Moskov and Daroth. You have Forsaken Light here, that's Yin and Melissa. Then you have Kedia Riverlands, Chu and Wanwan, and Astro Power, Badang and Irito. And then this is the synergies you have with these 8 heroes. You just need one more hero. You just need one more hero to activate Astro Power. You need one more hero to activate Kedia. Now, again, these two synergies, they have this Guardian in common. So you have Akai and Minotaur. When you add Akai and Minotaur, you get Guardian, you get Astro Power, you get Kedia River. And just like that, you have Prince. With 10 heroes, you have to get to 10 heroes first. Unlike with Franco-Freya-Julian, where you can do it at 7. But this lineup has Archer and Prince and the wrestler directly. That means that Moskov, in addition to getting that Prince synergy bonus, they're going to get the bonus of their roles as well. So this one has a little more power. You're going to risk the difficulty of building for a little more power, which I don't know. There's a lot of people who don't like that. I got a lot of comments about people who did not like that, which is understandable. Okay, right now that the Prince synergy is meta, you do not have that luxury of just taking your time and building. But when I will still explain a little more about how I feel about that whole thing. But yeah, that's all about it. What do you guys think of the Archer Wrestler synergy? I see a question here. The commander right now. The commander, it depends on if you want to play a ban. If you're okay playing a ban hero, then Fanny. Because Fanny is still my favorite commander. That after Rhea is my favorite commander for sure. Because I use her skill 1 for every single lineup it is I want to play. And then her skill 3 works too. So Rhea is the one. Rhea is the most consistent commander for me. You may have to learn the lineups for the synergies you want to play, but you see all the lineup. Sorry about that. Okay, so well, I hope you may not be able to ask questions, but I hope you can at least. And I really appreciate you coming to join the streams. Coming. Oh my god. Someone is calling my phone. That's why the stream is going up. I thought my network had decided to mess up again, but no, it's just somebody's calling my phone. Oh my god. I'm really sorry about that. Let me try to attend to the phone call a bit. Okay, but so for that is just it. We have the Freya-Julian lineup, and then we have the uh. It's time to see how to build the Franco-Freya lineup. The recommended commander skill for it is Fanny skill 3, and your starting hero is going to be Freya. You are going to, because you need 10 heroes, or you don't really need 10 heroes, but you want to have 10 heroes to speed up the building. I know Fanny is banned, so this might be a challenge. But don't worry, there are other examples that use Rhea skill 1. We'll get to those later on. But the best one for it is Fanny skill 3. And so your commander skill will be Fanny skill 3, your starting hero will be Freya. And this is going to be what you build from the early game. You have Freya. When you get Freya, you're now going to add Layla and Cyclops. This would give you. You can add what's her name? Rafaela and Saber. You don't really care too much about Cyclops right now. But what you want is that you want to trigger 3 Saber. That's what's most important. You want to trigger 3 Saber. Then you add Franco, the normal Saber weapon master. Then you add Franco and Martis. That will give you 3 weapon master and 3 Saber. Then you add Esmeralda. That will add, Mage and Blaze bounties. That is what you want to build in the early game. These are the 6 heroes that you need at the start. And then when it's time to pick your first star core, you want to pick the Saber star core here. Now when you pick the Saber star core, that will give you 4 Saber. And then after that, you can then, the next step is to remove Cyclops and put Yin. You remove Cyclops, then put Yin. Then you remove Martis and put Julian. Then you put Dairoth on your launcher and you add Moskov. And just like that, you have 7. This second part is kind of complicated. Remember the first heroes are Franco. The first heroes are Freya, Layla, Cyclops, Franco, Martis, Esmeralda. So you're going to remove Cyclops for Yin. You're going to remove Martis for Julian. Then you're going to add Moskov, and then Dairoth will be on the launcher. And just like that, you will have 7 synergies. But to build the lineup to the end, you still have to pick the Blaze Bounty Star Core, and then you add Bane and Claude. That is just everything. And that'll be the end of the lineup. So as you can see, you're going to activate the Prince synergy very early. And you're going to be surviving off this one until later when you get your Blaze Bounty Star Core. So you want to upgrade your commander level steadily. You don't want to stay too long at a low commander level. You want to go up really fast, because this lineup just has, even when you are not using Blaze Bounties, you still have to upgrade your commander level very quickly. So a quick recap now. You start with Freya. Your commander skill is Fanny skill 3. You start with Freya. Then you build these 6 heroes in the beginning. You pick the Saber Star Core. And then you replace Cyclops with Yin, you replace Martis with Julian, you put Dyrot, you can't see the Dyrot, but the Dyrot is actually on the launcher there. And then you put Moscow. If you are not using Fanny skill 3, you would have to upgrade to commander level 8. That is one advantage of, you can already see one advantage of Fanny skill 3 here. You need that will help you, it will give you that extra space for that. And then you pick the Ablaze Bounty Star Core, and then when you add Claude, that will complete Ablaze Bounties. Then when you add Bane, that will complete Northern Veil. And just like that, you have your 9 synergies prints. If you want, again, if you get Archer Crystals, you can just add the Archer Crystals to it, and the lineup will be, set. So far, what you get, that is how to build the Franco-Freya-Julian lineup. What do you guys think of it? I personally believe that this one is the easiest way to do it, because all the heroes, you can activate the Prince synergy very early if you get Julian and Moscow very quickly. If you get Julian and Moscow very quickly, you can activate the Prince synergy very. You don't need Bane, you don't need Claude. Those ones are just added bonuses. From the early game, you can very easily complete the lineup from here. Now, I see a lot of people picking the Weapon Master Star Core, and as you can see, that is a waste, because we have Franco-Freya and Julian. Those three are Weapon Masters. If you pick the Weapon Master Star Core, what you are essentially doing is making your Weapon Master 4 out of 6. But you can't remove any of these Weapon Masters, because you want those Julian lineups. You want Forsaken Light, you want Mage in the lineup. Now, one thing I really find funny about it is that Mage is not a Moskov lineup. Mage is not a Dyrot lineup. So, but we still want to have Mage there, because it doesn't matter what synergies we have. What matters is that we have the synergies, and so we just want to get those synergies, and that is the plan. So that is how to build the Franco-Freya-Julian lineup. Now, let's look at, if you don't get Freya at the start. Well, if you don't get Freya at the start, there is still another line. You can start with Dyrus actually for this one. What matters is that in the first stage, in this first stage, you pick that Saber Starco. And that is not going to be very difficult, since you have Prince heroes very easy to pick. You can buy the other heroes. I personally would not recommend it if you don't start with Freya. But if you don't start with Freya, then you just have to add these heroes, all these heroes, and you just add Freya another time. But what matters is that you make sure you have 3 Saber at the first. Where was I? What matters is that you pick the Saber Star Core, and then what matters is that you pick the Saber Star Core. Oh my god, that really destabilized me. So what matters is that you pick the Saber Star Core. If you don't start with Freya, then just pick this. Make sure you pick the Saber Star Core. Are there any other questions? Okay, so now to the next lineup we have. Okay, so Archer Wrestler tutorial. Oh my god. The commander skill here, of course, for this lineup as well, Fanny skill 3 is your commander skill. You want to start with you want to start with 1-1 as well. For this one, since this one is going to be an archer wrestler, you want to start with 1-1. And then your starting heroes is just going to be the normal wrestler, normal archer Kadia Riverlands thing. You have 1-1 Melissa, Iritel, Akai, Cho, and Jin. This is the synergies you will have. Very simple, very strong early game as well. You can actually survive. It's not as strong as Saber, of course, but this lineup is good enough to help you survive a bit. And then you want to pick the Archer Star Core. That is your first Star Core. What is it? This is Archer Star Core here. You want to pick the Archer Star Core as the first one. And then you add Dairoth on the launcher. And then you add Moskov. You put Dairoth on the launcher and then you add Moskov. That is the next step. So far right now, you would have, if you remember with the first one, we already had 7 synergies at this time. But for this one, we have to manage with 5 synergies. If we upgrade our commander level one more time, we can get 6 archers. That is one thing to note. But the second star core is going to be wrestler. And then we now add Badangad Mini. For the most part, with this lineup, you are going to be playing with 5 synergies. You're not going to play with the 7 synergies for the majority of the period of this lineup. You're going to be playing with you're going to be playing with 5 synergies. But once you get to 7 synergies, you then see a bigger power spike because again, Moskov has archer, Dairoth has wrestler to the maximum level. So if you manage to complete it, you will see a significant. And while we are on the topic, I should mention that the wrestler synergy right now is unfair to say the least. 4 wrestlers is 25% chance to stun, and then it goes to 55% chance to stun at six wrestlers. That's just the jump between those two is just insane. It goes from 25% at 4 synergies to 55. That's almost double the stun chance by increasing the power of the synergy. So wrestler right now, there's ways you can actually, if you get a science crystal, you can maybe put Mia. If you put Mia here, if you get a science crystal on top of this, if you put Mia here, you get 6 archer. If you put another wrestler, you'll get 6 wrestler. So yeah, that is just how to build. Now this one is very difficult. Now before anybody starts saying that, I know that lineup is very difficult. I got that comment a lot in the last. I know it's very difficult, but it tries. You want to activate the lineup. The entire point of the lineup is to activate 2 star cores and to activate 2 6-hero star cores. Now to do that while still, yeah, of course, definitely. Real skill 1 is going to be the next one. To try to do this with try to do this with like 7 heroes. You want to activate archer and wrestler star cores with just 7 heroes. That is being greedy. Even to do it with 10 heroes. Now, let me ask a quick question. For people who play, it doesn't matter what type of prince lineup you play. Around what round or what time do you complete it? It doesn't matter what lineup you use. Personally, when I'm playing with archer wrestler, I usually complete it by showdown creep defense round or the start of end game, which personally for me, that's a very fair time to complete it, because in truth completing 7 synergies, because upgrading to commander level 9 is expensive. You have to save your gold for almost 4 rounds. You have to not spend any gold for almost 4 rounds to get to commander. You need at least, unless you are using a blaze bounty. I think that is just why a lot of people like using anything that has a blaze bounty. It's just because of the gold, and you can get 7 synergies as well, so it works out. But if you are not using Ablaze bounties, you will struggle to upgrade your commander level. So it's not a matter of that, oh, the lineup is actually too difficult to be. It's because Ablaze bounties gives you a kind of cushion that you can use to build the lineup easily. But even with that, it still takes, because before I came here, I went through YouTube, watched a lot of Prince gameplay, and I noticed that all of them, they were not completing it in like the start of placement or anything. All of them were, oh, start of end game, showdown. I think the fastest I saw was the round after showdown creep defense round. That is after the second stack, or that's like 16th round of the game. That is still balance. Yeah, the start of end game is the time I personally look at that. This is my limit. I must complete this lineup by the start of end game. If I get very lucky and in the creep defense round before showdown, if I get an astro crystal in that uh, fate box, and then someone managed to get me Noto very quickly in the showdown stage, I can complete it by showdown. But that is a very like kind of luck dependent one. That one depends on a lot of luck. So I still go for I still aim for the end game, because that's more realistic. That's a more realistic goal. So end game or showdown. So you can see that what you will see is that you are not completing this synergy very fast. You still have to survive. So that is why you just have to build very well, manage your gold, position properly, get good items. You need to manage your game properly so that before you complete the Prince synergy, you don't get knocked out. It's not a matter of the synergy. A lot of times it's a matter of the synergy. But if you manage your team very well, you can very easily complete it by end game. Anyway, let's just use end game. I would say end game, personally, end game is the time that, okay, you should complete this thing. If you played it very well, you should complete it by end game. And so I think that's a good time for you guys to aim for. If you complete it by like showdown creep, I mean, you have to wait till showdown creep, because that is where you get your second star core. So you have to wait till showdown creep at least. So between showdown creep and the start of end game is a very good time. And all the lineups so far, the Archer Wrestler is probably the more difficult one, since you need to go to commander level 10, 9 without an Ablaze bounties, and that is very difficult, believe me. So a lot of times you may need to in fact, well, we'll see. So yeah, that is all about Archer Wrestler. Now, for when Fanny is not around, when you are using Rhea skill 1, I have two lineups. And these two lineups are the ones I use the most because, well, Fanny is banned, 1. And 2, these two lineups that I want to discuss right now, they have 6 hero synergies in the beginning. That means that you can activate that 6 hero star core. For those who have seen it, there's the Archer one, and then there's a new one that I posted in the community tab. For those who follow the community tab, I posted that one in the community tab, so you will see them there. But let's start with the first. The first one is Full Wrestler Bounties Prince. Essentially, it is as the name implies. You have 6 wrestlers, you have 6 you have 4 bounties, and then you have Prince. So let's see. Your commander skill, of course, Rhea skill 1, and the starting hero for this one is Dyroth, because we want to activate wrestler as quickly as possible. So your starting hero is going to be Dyroth. Now this is going to be the first heroes you use. You have Dyroth, you have Aldous, you have Franco, Yin, Clint and Layla. Now essentially, Clint and Layla, they are not necessary at all, but you want to have Clint and Layla because these are the heroes you can find in the early game. In the first like 4 rounds of the game, you don't have that much gold to work with. You can't really refresh the shop that much, and the most important heroes in this lineup are all 2 gold heroes, which you will not really find that many 2 gold heroes in the first few rounds. If you are lucky, you will find them, but for the most part you may not find them. But 1 gold heroes, you may even start with Layla, you may start with Clint. You will find Laylas and Clints in the shops everywhere, so you have those ones to help you survive the first 4 rounds, and you will actually use them until you pick your first Starco actually. So you have this as the base. You have Aldous, Dairoth, Franco, Yin, Layla, and Clint. You are these 6 heroes. This is what you want to aim for in the first few rounds. Now the next step is to use this rare skill 1 on Dairoth. This will give you a wrestler crystal, and then you can equip that on either Layla or Clint. Now the next thing is the wrestler star core. You want to pick a very good star core for this one, and then you equip it on Dairoth, you equip it on Aldous. One of those two will carry you definitely. And by the time you do that, and you put Cho in place of Franco, you place Cho with Franco, that will give you your 6th wrestler immediately. So if you pick a good star core, let's say my personal favorite right now is actually the Earth star core, because that shield is actually massive. So with that, you just have you can activate your star core as quickly as possible. And we know a lot of these star cores anyway give some very very massive bonuses that will help you survive the mid game. So the priority when you're using this real skill 1 lineups is that you want to activate this star core as quickly as possible. That is how you are going to survive the mid game. But when you replace Franco with Cho, you're not going to spend too much time at commander level 6 because you want Ablaze bounties. Aldous is not going to be very strong without Ablaze bounties. So you want to add Franco immediately. You want to upgrade commander level 7 very quickly and bring Franco back. So that will now give you these 2 gunners and then these other heroes. Now, like I told you before, this Clint and Layla, they are not necessary at all. So the next step now is to remove the Clint and Layla and put Freya and Julian. That will give you Weapon Master and Forsaken Lights. And you still have 6 wrestlers. Don't mind me here. My wrestler crystal here was on Claude. That's why it wasn't showing. But you would have 6 wrestlers. So you have 6 wrestler, 3 Weapon Master. This should be 2 Ablaze bounties and 2. So you would have a good lineup at this point. And all this is what you will be at commander level 7. Now, the next step is to pick that Ablaze bounty star core. And then you put Claude. When you put Claude, you will get this one complete. Then from there, you just want to add every hero. You add Claude, you add Bane, you add Moskov. Now, this is 10 heroes. This lineup requires 10 heroes. So there is one thing, because if you check the screenshots in the community tab, my 6th wrestler was not active. And that's because I didn't get a science crystal. If you don't get the science crystal, that's perfectly fine. What you just have to do is remove Cho. That means that you won't be using 6 wrestlers, you'll be using only 4 wrestlers, but you will have your prince. But if you get a wrestler crystal, if you get a science crystal, then you can have the full lineup complete. And you would have 6 wrestlers, you'd have, like I said, and since you have a wrestler crystal, you can put the wrestler crystal on Moskov. And 55% stun chance is insane with Moskov print. That is why I love this lineup, because wrestler Moskov with this new wrestler stun chance is unfair. I mean, you can't touch that Moskov at all. I mean, this lineup is not as easy to build. This one again is like another one of those you complete it by end game, or if you are lucky, you will complete it by showdown creep. And because you have Ablaze bounties in this one as well, at the maximum level, Aldous is going to be strong. You are going to have a very good economy, and Dairoth as well is going to be strong because you have Prince. So this one is a very, 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 very easy lineup. But before I move on to the next one, what do you guys think of it? Let's just take a minute right now to just take any comments. Yeah, that's the summary of the advantages of this lineup. The wrestler synergy early game. For the items, I mean, the items I would pick, I'd pick tank items, of course, for Dairoth. And then attack speed item, Demon Hunter Sword, Golden Staff for Moscow if possible. If I get major items, I'll put them on Julian. Tank items will mostly be on Dairoth or Aldous. Then all those BOD, all these ones, I can put them on Aldous as well. Or just, physical items. The items for me, Demon Hunter Sword and Golden Staff for Moscow. And then Dairoth tank items. The major items on Julian. I think that kind of That kind of summarized everything. Tank items Dairos, mage items Julian, and physical items on Moscow. Yeah, that kind of summarizes everything. Are there any other questions? I will move in the next 20 seconds. I'll move to the next and the last lineup in 20 seconds. At the end of the video, we are still going to discuss how to counter the Prince synergy. I do have a segment on how to counter the Prince synergy because, well, to put it simply, there's too many people playing Prince these days. I enter a game and there's like 4 people playing Prince. I miss the start of the season where I was the only one playing Prince and everybody would be laughing at me like, why am I trying to do this? But now that the synergy is buffed and meta and everything, everybody and their grandmothers are trying to play Prince. With different approaches too. That's why I think that's one thing I love about the lineup is that there is no one approach. You can, I mean, there is the easiest one, like I showed, that Franco-Freya-Julian lineup. You get everything done in with 8 heroes. But you have some other lineups, people doing many different things, and you have like 4 people playing. I did that actually. I compared the Archer Prince to I compared the Archer Prince to the Archer Wrestler Prince to this Bounties Prince. I played the in fact, I'll discuss that when we get to the counters part because there are some. I saw a lot of counter relationships in that one. So yeah, let's go to the next one, which is the Archer Prince, which is just Archer. You're only going to use one star core in this one, and yeah. So the commander skill for this one is real skill 1, and you want to start with 1-1. This same Archer base, you have 1-1 Melissa, Mia, Akaicho, and Yin. Then you want to use real skill 1 on Melissa, that will give you the Archer crystal. You can put that on Cho or Yin. And then you want to pick the Archer star core. And then you replace Yin with Irritor. Once you do that, you will activate the Archer synergy very quickly, very simple. You get your Archer, and if you get a very good Archer star core, let's say you get Mystic, you get what other Archer star core is good there? Water. You get Water for Mia, you get Mystic for 1-1. You get I think Fire is good too, but it's only the only good star cores I would say is a Water for Mia and the Mystic for any other one. I think Wind is also good. Earth is also good. But if you get a good star core, if you get good items with this, and your heroes are maybe like 2 stars, if you are lucky and get a 2-star 1-1 very quickly, you will enjoy this thing because 1-1 Archer is underrated right now. The only thing is that a lot of lineups right now, they have either AoE bursts or they have CC, and CC is not very good for archers. But if you have Purify, you're going to enjoy it. And so yeah, when you replace Yin with Irritor, again, like with the previous lineup, you're not going to spend much time at commander level 6 because you still need to quickly add Yin so that you get 2 wrestlers and 2 Forsaken Light. You want those 4 synergies activated very, very quickly. Now, you're going to maintain this lineup until, I would recommend not rushing in this line with this lineup. You're going to stay at this commander level 7 until Showdown Creep Defense round. You don't have to upgrade. If you get Moskov, you can replace Mia if you feel. If maybe your Mia is 1 star or 2 stars and not really doing anything, you can replace the Mia. Because if you have Water Core, I understand that, okay, if you have Water or Fire Core, Mia is actually a very deadly hero. But if you don't have a good star core on Mia, you don't have items on Mia, you can replace the Mia with Moskov early. Now you're going to maintain this lineup until Showdown Creep Defense round. Now when you get here, you're going to pick the Cadia Riverland star core. This is the most important. This is where it differs from the other lineup. Here you want to pick the Cadia Riverland star core. Now when you get that Cadia Riverland star core, you will replace Cho with Dairoth, and then you replace Moskov with Mia. Now as you can see, the lineup now has 5 synergies. Again, and five synergies, but this time you have the Archer star core complete. So if you have a good Moskov star core, Moskov is going to enjoy this lineup just like that, because we have 5 synergies already, we have the Archer star core already. If you get good items, all well and good. So that is the next thing. The next thing, you pick the KDR relevant star core, then you put Dairot in place of Cho. Then you put Moskov in place of Mia. Now, the next step now is the final step. You want to add, you just add Badanga Minotaur. Once you add Badanga Minotaur, then you have the lineup complete. So what you need to note is that I think the most important thing to note in this lineup is that this is the stage that this is the most critical point in the lineup. This 7 hero lineup. You want to make sure that this lineup is strong. You want to make sure you have 2 stars on these heroes. I would recommend not rushing your commander level at this point. Just use these heroes. Trust these heroes. Trust these heroes. Because you have a star core, you have Chu and Yin, you have, and it's 1-1. 1-1 is just a good hyper carry. So just trust this lineup until you pick the second star core. When you now pick the second star core, you can now start making plans towards getting like every hero complete. And usually I'm commander level 8 by this time, so my chance of finding Minotaur is actually high. I mean, it's not high, it's just 6%, but at least I have a good chance of finding Minotaur. So once I find Minotaur, I can then go to commander level and then okay, yes, I'm going to complete my Prince synergy. It's that kind of thing where you don't know if you're at commander level 8, you're looking for Minotaur, but you don't know if by commander level 9 you will get Minotaur. I mean, the chances increased, but will you get the Minotaur? So, but once you get the Minotaur at like commander level 8, you know that okay, I can just stop spending all my gold and I rush to commander level 9 to complete the lineup. And so yeah, that is just how to build this one. Now, those are all the lineups for today. Which one of them is your favorite? I think the next part is the counters. Yeah, the counters. Which one of them is your favorite? For me personally, my favorite is the Archer Prince lineup. And I will explain why that one is my favorite when we talk about counters. But there's a way to counter Prince synergy that doesn't apply to Archer Prince. But the other ones are still very good. The first one, the Franco-Freya-Julian lineup, you can activate 10 synergies with that. That's very, 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 very good. And while personally I'm not a fan of it because you don't really have any Moscow star core, you are relying less on the Prince synergy and more on the other heroes, most especially the Northern Vale heroes. But you have a lot of synergies. You have Saber there, so at least you have that extra wave of CC. You have Mage, so Julian and Esmeralda can, or Julian, let me not call Esmeralda, Julian can do something. You have a Blaze Bounty, so you're going to have a lot of gold. So the lineup is a very balanced lineup, but there are no star cores, of course, so that's why you just have the Prince. The Archer Wrestler, the most difficult to build of all of them, but personally that one has the highest payoff. Because imagine Moskov with an Archer star core, Dairot with a Wrestler star core, and these two heroes just Moskov behind Dairot and just put these two heroes in one corner. These ones are going to solo any team once you have those 2 star cores activated. That's why I really love it. Although it's difficult to build, if I were to say, if I play that lineup 5 times, I will probably complete it just 3 times out of those 5. But the other ones I can complete it 5 times out of 5. Very easy. But yeah, let's go to the next segment, which is the counters. The counters for the Prince synergy. The first one is anti-heals. One of the biggest advantages of Prince is the massive heal, especially on Dairot, because his passive gives him a lot of heal. So if you can block that heal, you will just have massive attack speed to deal with. You will not really have to bother about attack speed and sustainability. So if you have anti-heal, as someone said in the comments, Glowing Wand, Sea Halberd, you have these 2 items and the Prince heroes, they will be easier to burst. Which brings me to the second point. If you have burst, it's actually more like anti-heal and burst go hand in hand. You reduce their healing and then you burst them before they can, vamp with the healing. But if you have burst that is good enough to destroy them through the vamp, then that also works for you. You want to have either anti-heal or burst, or best case scenario you have both anti-heal and burst. That now brings me to the third point, counter position. This point is not a counter per se. It's more like the idea of counter position is that you have these prince heroes on the enemy team. You kind of arrange your heroes such that you can easily kill those prince heroes. It's the same thing like burst. You position your heroes so that you burst the prince heroes. All of them are actually interconnected. You position your heroes such that you burst down the prince heroes very quickly so that they don't get the chance to really do anything. It's like if you have a Kadita, for instance, you want to put the Kadita where the Dairot is going to be, so that as soon as the game starts, Kadita kills Dairot. Well, of course, if she doesn't have anti-heal, the Dairot may survive with 1 HP and then just kill her through that 1 HP. I understand that. But if you put a lot of resources into, okay, you have Kadita. It is hard to complete. It's hard to complete the synergy for everybody. Everybody will say the lineup is easy and this, but for all of us who play it, it's not very easy. We're taking risks in trying to play it. So if you and you should have like I mentioned it before, you should have realistic expectations. You have this lineup that you can complete. You want to complete 7 synergies. You should not be thinking that, I can complete 7 synergies in 10 rounds. That's not possible. If you think about it realistically. Wait, what was I? You have the you want to complete 7 synergies in 10 rounds. It's not possible. So you have to make sure that you survive. You manage your lineup. You should not be. The quote I want to use is that you should not try to build the prince synergy. Don't try to build prince synergy. Instead, try to build a synergy that has prince in it. I don't know if that makes sense. What it means is that you should not say, I don't care about all these heroes. I just want to get Moskov and Daireth. So you sell all your heroes, you make sure all of them are 1 star, you just keep refreshing the shop, your team is so weak that if you don't have Moskov and Daireth, you are going to lose. You should avoid building like that. You should make sure that the base of your lineup is very strong, so that when you now get Moskov and Daireth, you will then be able to win. That's why the wrestler bounties and archer prince lineups are my favorites, because those ones don't rely on the prince synergy at all. It's more like if you complete prince, all well and good. If you don't complete prince, because a lot of times when I'm playing archer, I don't complete the prince. I just use it there like that. But if I now complete prince, it then becomes even more. I understand that maybe some people want to just experience the lineup at all once. But if you're trying to like grind seriously, you should try to complete, instead of just focusing on that, I want to complete prince, build a lineup that has prince in it. Mystic mage. Well, I hope my point is clear. The point about the how when you're building the prince synergy. Sure, it's difficult to build, but just build your lineup. Make sure your lineup is stable. Upgrade your commander level steadily, and you will be able to. If you don't complete it by end game creep, if you somehow survive to end game creep, you will see it. Okay, so I can't see my comments anymore. Okay, so prioritizing items. Actually, no, okay, but showdown creep. Not the start of showdown is kind of reaching. If you are talking about showdown creep defense round, then that is actually very realistic. That is realistic. If you are talking about the showdown creep defense round, and it also depends on the lineup you are using. If you are using Franco-Freya-Julian, then it is possible. But if you are using something like Archer Wrestler, then it's not going to be possible at commander level. It's not going to be possible at this. Well, it's going to be possible, but it's not going to be very easy. So that is why I brought 4 lineups here. You pick whichever one you want to use. If you want to complete it as fast as possible, then you can use the first one, Franco-Freya-Julian. Very, very easy, very, very quick. You can complete that commander level 7 if you are lucky. That's if you're using final skill 3. You can complete that commander level 7 if you are lucky. And if you're not using final skill 3, you can complete it at commander level 8. Yeah, exactly. This happens to me a lot when I'm trying to build Archer Prince. But the thing about me is that I never build Archer Cadia. That's why it's easy for me. Anytime I'm playing Archer, I usually try to play Archer for second light. Because I want to have Yin there. So that's why it is easy for me actually to incorporate Prince into the lineup. Because I don't really care about Archer Cadia. But for people who they are go-to for... Because once you play the Cadia star code, that's when you see one Louis. That's when you see one Zilong and be like, oh, I can complete 6 Cadia here. And then you will try to complete 6 Cadia. And before you know what's happening, you don't want to let go of the Louis and Zilong. So I understand now. But this ties into the point I was making. If you can win without the Prince, then you'll be able to win easier when you have the Prince. Right now, the Prince synergy is busted. That's why, it almost doesn't matter. You can have every other hero 1 star. Once you have Moscow and Dario 2 star, that's all. The Prince synergy right now is just that busted. But once the synergy gets nerfed, you will not be able to do that. You will then have to build strong base lineups. I mean, right now the synergy is strong, so you can just do whatever you want. You can play it however you want. If you want to build Prince for your first time, I would recommend playing Franco-Freya-Julian. That one is very easy. It's also very stable. You also get Blaze bounties. So yeah. What other questions we have here? Okay, would you advise prioritizing the anti-heal items over items like Golden Star to eliminate? Okay. I would not do this actually. I would not do this because that is my point number 4 here. The point number 4 for counters to Prince synergy is building well. If you have a good synergy, if you build very well, if you are playing Prince and you build very well, their counters will not matter. That is because Prince right now is just busted. If you build very well, all these counters will not matter against the Prince synergy. In the same vein, if you build very, very well, you will beat any Prince synergy. If you build well and you have a strong team, you use a strong team. Something like I want to call Wormslayer Swordsman, but that one is really just Link. Link is one of those heroes that does very well against Prince at all. But that was before. Right now that Wormslayer no longer gives that immunity, it's going to be more difficult for Link. So I can't really think of many lineups that would counter Prince. I think the only counter for a Prince lineup right now is another Prince lineup. The only way to counter a Prince right now is with another Prince, and that is a very, very sad way to go, to have the lineup. I think someone mentioned Mystic, Burial, and Mage. Well, Mage right now has been on a very sharp decline. Mage has been underperforming a lot so far. I don't know, maybe it's just my games have been... I've not seen anybody who knows how to build Mage in my games, but recently, Mage has been severely underperforming. And even when I played Mage, I won, but I could feel the difference in power that this lineup is now weaker than it used to be. So we're done with the Angela Mage meta. Now we're entering into the Prince meta. Which is fine. It's all well and good. But I would not say Mystic Mage is a counter for Prince right now. I want to call Nature Spirit, but anybody who plays Nature Spirit would know that these guys are very weak to anything with attack speed. If Moskov just gets a nice line where you can attack like 3 Nature Spirit heroes at once, your heroes are going. Doesn't matter how much damage reduction you put on your Nature Spirits. It depends. It depends. Well, for real skill 1 or funny skill 3, it depends. I personally prefer real skill 1 if I'm playing the other two lineups. But if I'm playing Archer Wrestler, if I'm playing the Archer Wrestler Prince, the one that needs 2 star cores, I always pick funny skill 3. Because by default, that lineup needs 10 heroes. So I do need to have funny skill 3. Let's just go to this one. I need to have funny skill 3 for that one. But funny is banned most of the time. So in terms of that, Rhea is just better because at least nobody bans Rhea. I hope. I won't be surprised if Rhea bans. If Rhea starts, if people start banning Rhea because of this Prince meta. But so far, Rhea is not banned. So just Rhea is better overall. That's if you consider the ease of building. If you consider whether they will be open, the bans and everything. Yeah, Rhea is better. Although Fanny has more benefits, I would say. Yeah. So that is actually all I have for that's all I have for the tutorials. Quick recap: you have Franco-Freya-Julian lineup. You have Archer Wrestler Prince. Those are the funny skill 3 lineups. Then for real skill 1, you have the full wrestler bounties Prince, and then you have the Archer Prince. So yeah, that is all I have. To those, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you guys will try. I hope you guys will try to play every single one of these lineups. It's not that you just pick one and say that, oh, I'm going to just stick to this one because it has 7 heroes. I would recommend that you play all of them so that you can just get just to test all of them. I would say, if you want to grind, of course, you can just pick one and just spam that one to destruction. But I would recommend that you play all of them so you can find the one that that suits your playstyle the best. You can find one that you really like the end result the most. You can find one that you can find the one that you like. So I would definitely recommend that I would at the end of this stream I would compile the important parts of the tutorial and release it as a separate video. But to those of you who are in the stream, you can always just try it out with. I hope it was understood at least the steps to building the lineups. So I hope you will try it out, and I should be done with the actual tutorial by Saturday. If I should be done with it, so the full tutorial, the video form of the tutorial will be out by Saturday. It shouldn't be more than 10 minutes long. I'll make sure to cut it as short as possible. So yeah, that is all. Thank you guys so much for joining this tutorial. I hope you will send me screenshots in the Discord of how the Prince synergy went for you, and I hope you can also leave comments in my videos. Just let me know how the Prince synergy worked for you. Let me know which lineup you used. Let me know how it went. Just let me hear how the lineup worked out for you guys. And yeah, thank you for joining the stream. It was really fun, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.